Roman survived Brock, but the bloodline is still on top. The honorary Uso just spent two SmackDowns knocking on a door, getting turned away, and at the end of the night, he's taking a Claymore that was meant for Jey Uso. The road to Clash of the Castle starts now, so let's see how it all plays out as we rewind the bloodline. Welcome back to the Bloodline Rewind. I'm your host, Johnny Bake Show. My co-host, Teddy Mongoose, is in here with us today as this is part 78. If you missed last week's show, we covered SummerSlam 2022, so go back and check that out. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel, and it keeps you in the know for when we drop daily Bloodline content every single day. So before we hop in here, Goose, did you have any Observer notes you dug up for us?
Of course, man. So we start with the August 8th, 2022 Wrestling Observer newsletter. I feel like we should take the temperature of the room, right? How's things going backstage? What's the dirt since Paul Levesque took over?
Boy.
So Dave Meltzer reports that there is a, quote, positive and fresh vibe, but some of the talent is nervous whether or not they keep or lose their position. But overall, the feeling is more excitement and more positive about the future, end quote. So Levesque was described as coming across as caring about talent. And backstage, it's reported as being more relaxed and calmer. And the women in particular feel that there will be more of a focus on them. So, John, we've seen two TVs. We've seen a PLE. How do you feel so far about the Paul Levesque era?
He's definitely bringing in the Paul Levesque guys, is what I'll say to that. That you can tell that his fingerprints are on it. The guys that he normally, and gals that he's relied on throughout his whole booking career, that those are the ones that are hanging around and coming back.
And you're right. And we absolutely saw that with the SummerSlam right away. That first match, the women that he thought were stars were right back in the fold. And we'll see where we go. But I do genuinely remember being really excited about this at this time.
There feels like there's new life. There's new juice.
Absolutely. And it's not like, look, man, we are covering the Bloodline storyline. We said on episode 1 that this was Vince's magnum opus. This was his great finale, right? Like it was the last great imprint that he had. We've also been covering these SmackDowns in particular for 2.5 years on the timeline. And there's a lot of not good stuff there too. Ooh. And so the hope now is that we get a mid card, we get an undercard. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And we all have our NXT darlings, things like that. So to see some of these guys that we thought were great on the black and gold brand resurfacing, I think it's really exciting.
It is exciting. Yes. Yeah. We got some fresh faces that, they were not used very well under Vince. Let's see how they're going to be handled with Paul.
Yes, sir. And we'll get to a fresh face, will we not?
You will. We will.
So here's a fun one. Day 1 was announced for January 1st, 2023 to take place in Atlanta. John, what are your memories of Day 1, 2023?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you, honestly.
It didn't happen. So I had to ask. So from the August 15th, 2022 Wrestling Observer newsletter, I'm only noting this for the past and present foes of Roman Reigns. It was announced that All Out from Chicago, AEW All Out on September 4th, 2022, will feature Jon Moxley versus CM Punk in the main event in a world title unification match. So I'm sure that's going to go well.
Yep, it's going to go really, 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 really well.
Everyone's going to end up better off for it, right?
Oh, yeah. Everyone's going to be happy.
And as far as WWE news goes, the company discovered another $5 million in payments made by McMahon, one from 2007 and one from 2009, bringing our grand total to $19.6 million for payouts to women. These new payouts were said to be unrelated to the allegations that led to the investigation, that investigation which led to McMahon's retirement on July 22nd. Also, Levesque is now the current head of talent relations, as well as being the man in charge of creative, which we could see from the introduction, as you had said just a minute ago, or reintroduction of many of these push talents from NXT. But this does mean And it basically cements that Laurinaitis is out. He was given the leave of absence before, and now Levesque's the man in charge. So with all that, John, let's go ahead and get any SmackDowns, man.
Yes, we are at the August 5th, 2022 SmackDown. We start with the recap of SummerSlam, and the show starts with an SUV pulling up, and the Usos are driving. Roman hops out of the back. They've arrived to the building, and Roman is all smiles as he's walking in.
So Michael Cole says, we're on the heels of another amazing SummerSlam, and we are welcome to Greenville, South Carolina. Tonight, Roman Reigns addresses Drew McIntyre. We go to Pat McAfee using a telestrator to break down how he beat Baron Corbin. McAfee's breaking this down, and he goes, in front of the millions, say it, Cole. And instead of Michael Cole saying, and millions, like Pat teed him up for, he goes in this like Smeagol voice, millions.
Oh, God. He's just the worst sometimes.
Dude, I freaking died. Millions.
Gosh.
The geeks backstage are laughing at Corbin, and him and Ricochet are going to kick off SmackDown. There's a dude behind McAfee that has a "That's What I Do, I Drink and I Know Things" shirt on. Good for him. That one popped me good. So Ricochet beats Corbin. After the match, Pat punts a Nerf ball into the crowd. People go nuts for that. And there's going to be a gauntlet match for who faces Liv Morgan tonight. Natty, Raquel, Shayna, Sonya, Shotzi, Xylee, and Aaliyah are all in it. And man, the reason I noted this, I did not remember Aaliyah getting this much TV time in 2022. Like I have said Aaliyah's name over and over and over again on these shows.
There's probably a good reason we don't remember.
You got that right, dude. But she's there. I'm just very surprised by that.
That is actually very surprising. So after that announcement, Sami is backstage. He walks up to Roman's locker room and knocks on the door as we go to commercial. We come back. Jimmy and Jay open the door. Jimmy daps up Sami, and Sami goes to dap up Jay, and he ignores it.
Dude, not just daps him up. They do like a secret handshake.
Yeah.
And like with Sami and Jimmy. And then he goes to like give one to Jay, and Jay just stares at him, and Sami goes, "We'll get one."
Yeah. Sami says what they did at SummerSlam was incredible, and he asks how Paul is feeling after the F5.
How's Paul Heyman? How's the wise man?
Oh, hey, he's good. He needed a few days at home
because he was coming to talk to Roman. He wanted to congratulate him on his win at SummerSlam. He's just going to pop in, and Jay pushes him away and tells him that's not a good time. And Sami says,
"That's not a good time, Moose." My dog.
Hey.
Died. Jimmy tells him that he will shoot him a text and he'll come back later.
Yeah, you know what I really loved about this? That the Usos have new Bloodline shirts on.
Yes.
And Sami's still wearing the old shirt.
Yeah.
So he's out of the loop. Like, it's a very subtle way to say, like, you're not friends with us.
Yes. Yes. It's very well done.
Excellent stuff, dude. So Liv and Ronda, we get Liv and Ronda highlights. Shinsuke comes out. Pat's on the desk, of course. Shinsuke beats Ludwig with the Kinshasa, and he'll face Gunther for the IC title next week. I note this because Ludwig somehow does not get chopped to death after this. He just takes the L and moves on. So we get a New Day promo, a tease for a Ronda segment, some press snippets from SummerSlam, and we go back, and Sami is knocking on the door again.
The Usos respond, and Jay is hot about this.
Yes.
Sami says, sorry, he has awful reception in the building, and Jimmy says that he was just about to text him, and Jimmy says that he needs a favor. When the wise man is here, he handles all of his music, make sure the graphics are good, the pyro's good, and he's making sure everything in Roman's entrance is perfect, and they need Sami to do that for him.
I mean, I'm the honorary Us.
It didn't mean a lot to Roman.
Sami agrees, and he tells them to tell Roman that he's on it, and there will be huge pyro tonight. So we're saving Roman for the end as he will address Drew McIntyre before the Clash at the Castle match.
Yeah, so in between, we got a Liv Morgan segment. What's really weird is she's getting booed, trying to put herself over. So I don't know if she's a heel or a face. Sonya comes out. She barks at Liv for a little, and it's gauntlet time. Shayna wins that gauntlet, so she pins Raquel. She's going to face Liv Morgan at Cardiff. And we go to then Sami knocking again.
Hey, it's all taken care of. I went to the production truck.
Graphics are set. Pyro's great. He actually got in a fight with a guy. It was a whole thing. Like, the way that he laid it out there was excellent. Jimmy says it's not going to happen tonight.
Will, you're giving me the runaround all night. Come on, man. Am I part of this group or not?
And then Jay finally flips. You want to know the truth? The Bloodline leveled up at SummerSlam. Roman 2 titles, Usos 4 titles.
If you don't start pulling your weight around here, Usos, we're going to make you take that shirt off real soon.
And so Sami, after just getting eviscerated, right, just shrunk down.
Yes. Yeah, just bites
his thumb in embarrassment, dude. It was excellent, man.
Eugene. He goes full Eugene.
Absolutely. It's the way that both of them played it, because Jay, you said, was smoking hot before, but he didn't say a word, right? Just stare lasers through him. And then he finally goes off, and all Sami could do is give the So we got the War Raiders geeking out 2 geeks. Kofi comes out, beats him down with kendo sticks. I note this because he got a huge reaction for this, even a Kofi chant. We then get the Eric versus Kofi match that was made during the break. And I asked myself here, are we sure Vince is gone? If we're just going to be, are we just going to be making matches during the break? So Kofi steals the W with the roll up, and we're told that the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament will be held on Raw. And I'm glad we remembered these belts, because we talked weeks ago about Sasha and Naomi walking out.
We're finally at the main event segment, and of course we get the full entrance from Roman, all the pyro. Greenville, South Carolina acknowledges their tribal chief, and Roman says, we know the deal. They defend the titles, they win big, they come back to SmackDown, and they brag about what they've accomplished. But there's a few things he needs to address before they get to all of that. Number one, we got to talk about Brock Lesnar. He hates him too. He hates Brock, but he respects him. And the Bloodline hates Brock Lesnar because they tried to kill the wise man.
Yeah, 2 things with that. One, he got a huge reaction for saying that he hates Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a, Brock chant or boos or anything like that. So that was interesting. But I need to say, I don't think we put over enough last week Heyman taking that F5 then him selling after that match with both Usos, his arms around both Usos.
Yeah, we didn't do that justice.
Yeah, just that rotten face that he had, like a man that went through a table. This dude is a worker, an all-time worker, and he was excellent in that main event, man.
Yes, he really was. We didn't do it enough justice about how good he was there at the end. But the Bloodline, they don't have a special counsel here, and they're not sure when he's going to be back. And Roman sends up some prayers for Paul, and here comes Drew. Drew calls Roman
our tribal queen.
And was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all.
No, the crowd popped big for it. Drew says that these people have heard enough, and all he wants is to get his hands on him, but he can't wait until Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, Drew says, if you want Drew to tear apart the Bloodline right now,
let me hear you scream.
And people go nuts. It was like he was at a concert.
Yes, he rips his shirt off. He's going to go after the Bloodline, and then all of a sudden,
oh my God!
The bird is flying on the screen, and it's Karrion Kross? Like, what?
Yeah. So to answer my question from before, Vince, not back, obviously.
Absolutely not.
Like, I'm thinking, once I saw that impromptu commercial made, we got a match, I'm like, uh-oh. And then we got Scarlett and all the, the gimmickry around that entrance. And yeah, it's his Paul show.
So everyone is looking around confused. Kross jumps Drew on the ramp and he beats him down. Scarlett puts the hourglass on the apron for the Bloodline to see, and Kross says tick tock, and that's how we close the show. And this is pretty big because, like, what are we doing? Like, Karrion Kross was irrelevant, but like you mentioned last week, like we mentioned earlier in the show, this is the Levesque era, and this is a Levesque guy.
Yeah, Paul booked him to be an absolute monster in NXT. He did, and he was. He really was. I thought that the way that he was presented and the way that he was booked was awesome. He looked like he belonged. He looked like a world beater. And then for him to come out dressed in this BDSM stuff and job to Jeff Hardy whenever he got called up, like, you knew that this is Levesque absolutely trying to make good on his own goods, and good for him for that, man. Like, I will give him credit. But how about when Scarlett puts that hourglass down, Pat goes, "What does this mean?" And Cole says,
The hell does that mean, Cole? It means tick tock.
But yeah, gosh, they just whatever. This whole
neither of them were ready for anything, you know?
They weren't ready for it. They acted like they were very unprepared. They had no idea that Karrion Kross. They were surprised that Karrion Kross was back. Whole thing sucked.
Yeah, and listen, man, if they didn't get smartened up to get an authentic reaction, great. The problem is, if that was the case, they just didn't react well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sort of killed the vibe just from the TV presentation.
Very, very bad. Yes.
So from the Observer, that was the August 15th Observer, regarding Karrion Kross and Scarlett's return, Kross on the internal depth chart is currently listed as the number 2 heel on SmackDown behind Roman Reigns.
Get out of here. Well, okay. It's the Levesque era. All right.
Yes, it is, man. A new era. So Dave says that based on the SmackDown angle, one would think that Drew and Kross is the new house show program due to Roman not working house shows anymore. So that actually does make sense. Meltzer also says that Kross and Scarlett are an act with a major league look and presentation, but on the main roster anyways. Once the bell rang, he came across as just a guy with bad booking aside. And I say, preach, Dave. That was it. That was it, even in 2025.
They booked the poor guy into oblivion to start, and he was dead. And I just don't. Whatever.
Well, the problem is he couldn't work. He couldn't work himself out of it.
He can't work. Yeah, you're right. He can't work himself out of it. And you're right. He's just a guy. He was just a bald guy in NXT that had a really cool look. But once the bell rang, he didn't have it.
At least he was a crusher, though. Once they brought him up to the main roster, and again, he lost to Jeff Hardy right away. And then after that, it's not like you're going to get this stellar athlete like Drew McIntyre or Sheamus, like evolved into this excellent big brute guy worker that's just going to give you these great matches.
Right.
Not the case, but I digress. So we also watched the August 12th, 2022 SmackDown. We're at the PNC Arena in North Carolina now. We get no package or recap to start. We just go right into the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. Raquel and Aaliyah beat Xia Li and Shotzi. Cole then turns that into a plug for Roman versus Drew at Clash in the Castle in 2 weeks. And now we get our recap package from last Friday.
Yes, this recap of Karrion Kross taking out Drew. Now, after we see it, he is backstage.
The rebirth of a darkened soul.
He says that Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre are the chosen ones, and it must be nice. He says that he was a castaway and he waited for his perfect time to strike with vengeance.
Yeah, he finishes with,
everybody knows about the bloodline. Now we're going to show them the new timeline.
And at the end, everyone pays the toll. Tick tock. I got news for you, man. Kross talking has never been the problem with him.
Never been the problem.
Like, he is really good on the microphone. And not only that, he looks really cool.
He does.
Like, his presentation is great, dude. Hair is like, he looks like $1 million. Obviously, Scarlett looks like $1 million. I really, really liked this backstage promo. What'd you think, man?
I like it. It wasn't bad. It's just, I don't mind that they brought him back. It's just that he was just so dead. And we're going to put him with Roman as soon as he comes back. Like, throw your nuts on the table harder, Trips, while you're at it. Like, say, like, this is my guy. I'm sticking to him. Just
like we said, dude. Paul, and I do give Paul credit for this. This is my show now. Yeah. And I'm going to plug my guys. And for that, I can't complain right here.
No.
So how about Kross, though, giving him that creeping look around? Like that creeping look around, and we see Drew warming up in Gorilla. So Drew's music hits, and then he gets a huge pop ski here.
Huge. Drew comes out and he says that he was jumped from behind last week, and he understands why Kross took out the #1 contender. But here's the problem. Drew says that his hands are full with Clash at the Castle, but when the time is right, they're going to play a little game, and he's got 3 options. He's either got a knockout, a hospital, or the graveyard. So Drew says, in shocking news, Roman isn't here tonight. And Drew says the reality is that the last 2 times Roman faced Brock, he's needed his whole family to take him out.
And I beat him with my bare hands.
Great line and a great reminder that Drew squished Brock basically. And it's really important for this because obviously Roman not only needed his family, he needed 30 belt shots and he needed to stack everything up and all that. Like, yeah, this is strong babyface promo by Drew.
He says Roman is delusional. The island of relevancy isn't a real place. And when he finishes that sentence, here comes Karrion Kross.
Yeah, dude, I laugh every time that bird starts flapping. But I'll tell you what, man, the black and white is awesome. And I got to give him credit for that. Like, they are trying to make him come across as a star. And if you weren't watching his previous main roster run, you would see him as a star. And the other thing that's really smart about this, they are gaining viewers every week as this Bloodline thing picks up. It's on SmackDown. It's not on Raw. SmackDown's the flagship show. Kudos for trying, man. Seriously.
So Scarlett comes to the ring. The Usos jump McIntyre. They hit him with the 1D. Scarlett is now still standing on the apron, and Jay tells her that if Cross steps up to the tribal chief, the Usos are going to put him down. Scarlett says, that's funny, because he had the same message for you, and that literally made no sense. Why did she say that?
Dude, I wrote the same thing. Like, so the message that Cross had was, this is Bloodline territory? Because that's literally what Jay said right before they had that back and forth. I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know.
Yeah, her retort was pretty poor here. Or either that, or Jay just got hyped and sort of went off script, and she just had to say what she had to say anyway, which is seriously probably the way that went.
Probably, yes. Probably if I had to guess, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, and listen, man, Jay's been like this method actor, screaming at Sami, being all, fierce and all this. So we come back from break and Cole tells us that Gunther defends the prestigious workhorse title. And we get this really cool video about the IC championship. Like, this was really well done. Putting the belt over Big, which in turn puts Gunther over Big. So I thought this was smart. The Viking Raiders come out, Kofi attacks them, and then they just absolutely massacre him. So that's continuing too.
So Sami is walking backstage. He knocks on Roman's door. The Usos come out. Sami said he's been doing a lot of thinking, and everything he said last week was right, and Drew jumps them.
You're right about it. Oh my goodness.
Drew beats down the Usos, and Sami just backs away in the hallway.
So Drew says every time they get involved, Drew's going to beat them down, which again, dude, we're putting Drew over Big here. I really like what we're doing in this timeline. IRL, we're going to Cardiff. Seeing the way that they're setting this up, it really feels like Drew's going to win this belt.
It really does. Yes.
Like I'm going to take out the lackeys. Like, I'm on a roll. Here I go.
And we have to remember that, like, they're going overseas for the first time. Why not try to really build a big baby face to do something like that in their homeland?
Correct. Against this unbeatable champion. This is great stuff, man. So we got 2 rando job guys coming out, and they're going to face a mystery team. And that mystery team is Hit Row. So Paul's thumb is still right on it, brother. So it's Ashante the Adonis and Top Dollar with B-Fab. Cole says we haven't seen them since last fall. Controversy surrounding them, of course. And my question is, weren't they just released? What's controversial about this?
About that.
So they geek out the geeks. And then after that, we get a Gene LaBelle graphic. This is interesting because Gene LaBelle, MMA pioneer, catch wrestling legend, he did it because he was someone that trained Ronda Rousey. But the interesting thing here, and the reason I wanted to note it, the namesake of Daniel Bryan's finisher, the LaBelle lock, is actually for this guy.
Yes.
So it's really cool. Dave actually has an extensive autobiography on him. Dave actually has an extensive autobiography on him in that August 15th Observer. So anybody interested, there's 10,000 words there, but it's really cool.
So we now cut to Sami. He's nervously pacing backstage. The Usos come up on him and they ask him where he ran off to.
Yeah, dude, the line was, "Hey, track star, where'd you run off to?" And I laughed out loud at "Hey, track star."
Sami says that he was just going to get security, and Jay tells him that is enough with the excuses. He tells them that he's trying to get Drew kicked out of the building, and Jay says that if he doesn't step up, he's going to get left behind. The Usos now head to the ring, and they call out Drew.
Jay says, pick a tag partner, Drew. Anyone, come out here and get this work. Drew comes out immediately, and I'm hoping that he gets Sheamus. Yeah. Seriously. Like, if I had a Drew and Sheamus versus Usos impromptu, I'd have been over the moon.
Would have been incredible. But Drew doesn't even wait for a partner. We have a 2-on-1 handicap match. Drew is holding his own by himself, but it doesn't last long as the Usos are beating him down. Madcap Moss comes down, and he is now Drew's partner. He takes out the Usos, and we officially have a tag team match as we go to commercial.
Yeah, and I don't hate seeing new faces at all. This just feels like complete bizarro world.
Like we
seeing Karrion Kross is a big heel. Madcap Moss is getting this big baby face push. This is so weird.
So we come back and Jay is taking over on Madcap. And of course, the first spot is a hip attack. Jay lands it. He goes for the super kick, but Madcap catches it. He kicks and plants Jay into the mat for double downs. We then get the Drew hot tag. He runs wild, landing the belly to belly on Jimmy and the swinging neck breakers on both Usos. Drew kips up. He's looking for a Claymore. Sami runs into the ring to stop Drew, and it's the distraction that the Usos needed. Jimmy lands a super kick. Jimmy tags and lands the Uso splash, but Drew somehow kicked out here.
Yeah, this was an excellent near fall because I was literally like, oh, Sami fixed it. That makes all the sense in the world. Distraction, right. Drew gets beat by the Bloodline. I got it. But he kicks out. Sami's going completely nuts outside after that kick out. The Usos then tag and they put the ones up. And so does Sami standing outside. And I love that spot.
Incredible. The Usos set up for the 1D. Madcap pulls Jay to the outside and into the barricade. Jay then counters and takes himself and Madcap out into the timekeeper's area with a clothesline. Jimmy is going for the Samoan drop, but Drew counters with the Glasgow kiss. Jimmy lands a super kick. Drew lands a Claymore, and he wins the match. Sami is on the apron. Drew is walking him down as Jay is setting up for the super kick. Drew catches it. He lands a future shock DDT, and he goes for the Claymore on Jay.
And Sami Zayn takes a bullet for the Usos.
He pushes Jay out of the way, and he gets nailed with the Claymore.
Yeah, dude. And Drew's reaction was incredible here. It reminded me of that face that Kenny Omega made whenever he beat Sonny Kiss in like 4 seconds on that Dynamite, where he's sitting the one-winged angel just looking forward. That's literally what Drew did, and it was great. Drew is screaming, tell your boss Drew McIntyre's waiting for him. And this was such an excellent, excellent segment, man. To finish this show, not as excellent. Max Dupree's backstage with Maxine and Maximum Male Models. Los Garza puts the moves on Maxine. We get some hype for the women's tag team title tournament. I note this because one of the teams in this is Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons, which I did not have on my 2022 bingo card. Wild stuff, man. Right. And then as our main event, Gunther beats Shinsuke with the stacked powerbomb. Solid TV match, trying to put Gunther over, especially putting the IC title in the main event and not this Bloodline segment. So overall, a very solid SmackDown. Good job by you, Mr. Levesque.
Yes, great job. And that was part 78 of the Bloodline Rewind. If you've made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a comment and let us know what you thought about the Fallout SmackDowns with Karrion Kross returning and with Sami stepping in and saving Jay from the Claymore. But next week, we are full steam ahead. We've got a couple more shows before the Clash at the Castle pay-per-view, so stay tuned for that. But with that, I'm Johnny Bake Show.
I'm Teddy Mongoose.
And we just called it in the ring.